creepers, where'd you get those creepers? Creepers, creepers, where'd you get those eyes? Cause y'all get up, how'd they get so lit up? Cause y'all get up, how'd they get that size? Creepers, creepers, where'd you get those creepers? Creepers.
Hey, what's up guys, it's Bakes back again with an episode of my Shelf by Shelf series. Today we're up to shelf number 6. Hopefully you guys are still enjoying this series, or if you're new to it, enjoying it so far. But we still got plenty more movies and shelves to go through, so we're not running out anytime soon. But either way, today's episode, shelf number 6, so let's get underway. Starting off this shelf, we have a film called Green Room. Super realistic and gritty and dark, but enjoyable for sure. It's about this punk band who lock themselves in the green room of this establishment, and I won't spoil who's trying to get in or their motives, but yeah, entertaining movie, dark, but yeah, enjoyable. Next up, we have Gremlins and Gremlins 2. I'm a big fan of both of these movies. I probably watch Gremlins maybe every year or two, mainly around Christmas time, but I actually rewatched it last night with my dad. It came on the movie channel and we both had a good time. Gremlins 2, it has been a while, but super enjoyable. Really slept on. It's more comedic and self-aware and whatever, but both of them really good movies. Greta. I know not a lot of people really like this movie, but I kind of like these films where like someone who's not completely right becomes obsessed with someone else, and it turns into this like cat and mouse, and I don't know, I kind of like those movies, so I thought Greta was alright. The Grey. I know I don't like this movie as much as other people. Liam Neeson and these other group of survivors need to fight off these wolves in the cold, and I don't know, a bit of an action and drama film as well, but not really up my alley. The Grudge, with my first ever celebrity crush, Sarah Michelle Gellar. I fell in love with her because she played Daphne in Scooby-Doo. But either way, The Grudge has its moments, it's okay. The Grudge 2, not as good, again has its moments, but yeah, not on the same tier as the first one. The Grudge 3, again a step down. And The Grudge, the Untold Chapter. I know a lot of people really didn't like this movie, and by all means it's not good at all, but for a legacy sequel I thought it was okay, and I feel like it's definitely better than 3 at least, I don't know. The Guardian, directed by William Friedkin. Killer Plant movie, different, it's okay, not too bad. And I guess now we're getting into my Halloween films. So here we have the OG classic, John Carpenter's Halloween. I mean, what do I say about it? Everyone knows this movie. It's a classic, it's great. Michael Myers, yeah, love Halloween. Halloween 2, recently rewatched this movie and did a review of it, so if you want to know my complete thoughts, go check out that review. But in a nutshell, I don't mind this movie. I actually think it's okay, but just the fact that it is the direct sequel to the first movie and it's meant to be the same night and meant to go hand in hand, I feel like that's what lets it down, but either way. This double feature, I keep it for Halloween 3. If it wasn't called Halloween 3 and just called Season of the Witch, I feel like this movie would be immensely more popular. I love this movie. I think Halloween 3 is great, but I know a lot of people are just butthurt that it doesn't have Michael Myers in it and whatever, but it's a good movie, man. Halloween 4, The Return of Michael Myers. Same as Halloween 2, recently rewatched this movie, so for my thoughts, just go and check it out. But again, in a nutshell, the most I've ever enjoyed this movie. It used to be one of my least favorites, but it's not bad. It's not bad. Halloween 5, Revenge of Michael Myers. This one's a harder case to fight. Not as good. The Halloween Collection, which has... Sorry, I'll flip it over. Halloween Part 6, The Curse of Michael Myers, which a lot of people hate on it, and by all means, it's not a good movie. Definitely has its moments that sort of make you shake your head, but There's worse movies out there for sure. Halloween H2O. I actually really like Halloween H2O. I think it's a lot of fun. Does things a little bit different, reboots the franchise a bit, but the worst thing about it is Michael's mask, honestly. And Halloween Resurrection, I could make a list of everything wrong with that movie. I'm not a big fan of Resurrection. Halloween, 25 Years of Terror. This is the documentary of the original legacy of Halloween films. Blumhouse's Halloween 2018 rebooted sequel. I know not a lot of people kind of like this remake, especially horror fans. I feel like a lot of people are definitely divided on this one for sure. Halloween fanboys hate this movie, but I'm not gonna lie, I really like Halloween 2018. I feel like it did a lot right, and I'm gonna stand by that. The Blumhouse Halloween trilogy, so it's also got Halloween, this one that we just looked at, in it. I'll eventually get rid of this, but I just haven't opened this yet to rewatch the movies. I've seen all 3 of them, so I guess we'll go through them quickly. I already spoke about that. Halloween Kills. It's not a good movie. It's batshit insane. If I have to hear Evil Dies Tonight one more fucking time, I'm gonna lose my shit. But by all means, fuck it. It is honestly kind of entertaining. And Halloween Ends. I like that it's a big fuck you to Halloween fanboys. Everyone wanted to see this big final showdown between Laurie and Michael, and they didn't get it. But for the film that it is, again, I don't think it's that bad. I haven't, as I said, rewatched them since getting this set. But wait around for October, because I'm waiting to do something specific with them in that month. And to wrap up the Halloween franchise, Rob Zombie's remake and the sequel to it. I like Rob Zombie's remake. A lot of people are like, oh, we don't need to see Michael Myers' backstory. Like, that's what, is so good about the original film. He doesn't have a backstory. We don't really know what's going on in his head and whatever. If you're going to do a remake, you might as well do it a little bit different. So it's like, why not have both, So I like it. Halloween 2, however, I've heard a lot more people come around on it, but it's been a long time since I last checked it out, so if I remember right, I wasn't a big fan of Halloween 2. The Hamiltons, this movie about a family of vampires. No, it's not Twilight. The Hand That Rocks the Cradle. Really good thriller. This is honestly one of my favourite thrillers to come back and watch, because it doesn't really require too much concentration. It's got more horror elements in it than a lot of thrillers do. I really like this movie. Hannibal. It's got its moments, but not the biggest fan, honestly. Even less a fan of Hannibal Rising. I just like Red Dragon and Silence of the Lambs. These 2 movies just, not really my thing. Hansel and Gretel Witch Hunters. Obviously not straight up horror, but fun action horror. Enjoyable. The Happening. A lot of people will try and tell you this is the worst horror movie of all time. First of all, if you're going around and saying, like, The Happening is the worst horror movie of all time, or let's say, for example, Halloween Ends or Halloween Kills, you really haven't seen a bad movie before. You don't know what a bad movie is until you're watching Invasion of the Bloodsuckers Part 4, But a lot of people will try and tell you The Happening is the worst movie of all time. It's not good, but it's honestly kind of enjoyable. I'm not gonna lie. Happy Birthday to Me. I'm sort of blanking on this movie. I think I like it though. Sorry, that was a weird one. Happy Death Day. Again, on one that gets a little bit too much hate in my opinion. I get it, the Groundhog Day sort of thing has been done a lot, especially over recent time, but I like Happy Death Day, I'm not gonna lie. I remember watching it for the first time in cinemas. Yeah, enjoyable. Happy Death Day to You. I don't like this one. It goes way too much into the comedy and kind of sci-fi as well. I don't know, I just wasn't a fan of Happy Death Day to You. Hard Candy, brutal movie for many reasons, but two great performances from now Elliot Page and Patrick Wilson. Yeah, good movie though. Adam Green's Hatchet. I've done a ranking recently over the 4 Hatchet movies. Yeah, enjoyable. Hatchet 2, which is probably people's least favourite in the franchise, but I do actually enjoy Hatchet 2. I think it's fun. And then sort of vice versa, a lot of people really like Hatchet 3, but I'm not the biggest fan. Just the whole, what do you want to call it, like mercenaries going in there to find Victor Crowley, I don't know, just doesn't appeal to me. Hatching. This was an interesting one. It was one I missed out on last year, but obviously got it for, I think, Christmas or something, or maybe my birthday. Gave it a watch, and yeah, I thought it was okay. Probably wouldn't have made my top 10 from last year, but still enjoyable. Haunt. This movie is so slept on. I love Haunt. I just think it's great, you know. It's realistic, it's grounded, but it's still so much fun, and I love our characters and the number of villains that we get, and I don't know, I just really like Haunt. The Haunting. Not a fan of this one, I'm not gonna lie, straight out. The Haunting in Connecticut. This one has its unique moments and flavors in there, but again, I've always said I'm not a big fan of these paranormal possession sort of movies, which actually The Haunting in Connecticut and The Haunting is sort of neither. They're more haunted house ones, but yeah. The Haunting of Molly Hartley, again, just yeah, not really my thing. The Haunting of Sharon Tate with Hilary Duff. I'm sure you've heard a lot of bad things about this movie, and yeah, it's not great. Had a stretch of mediocre films there, but Heathers, obviously not a straight up horror, but got its elements. Enjoyable movie for sure. I love Winona Ryder, I just love her in everything. So Hellfest. I know a lot of people really liked this movie. I wasn't sold on it. I've only seen it once, but maybe need a rewatch. Yeah. Hellbreeder. Remember when I was saying, like, a lot of people will try and tell you The Happening's the worst movie or blah blah blah. You really haven't seen a bad movie till you watch something like Hellbreeder, or, as I said, there's always going to be like zombie plants from Uranus Part 76 that is just terrible. So if you're going around saying those movies are bad, you need to watch something like fucking Hellbreeder, because then you'll lose your fucking mind. Hellions. This one was okay. I think I sort of put the low points on myself because I think I was just expecting something a little bit different. So not a bad movie, but just sort of not what I was hoping it would be. Hellraiser. I mean, I just love Hellraiser. I think it's one of my favorite like romance horror movies, which if you've seen the movie you'll know what I mean. And I love Frank Cotton. I know a lot of people will say Pinhead is the face of this movie. He's the face of the franchise, but Frank Cotton is so fucking good as the antagonist in this movie. Hellraiser 2 Hellbound. Not as good, but still pretty solid. I don't own any of the other Hellraiser movies, as you can see. Hereditary. I mean, one of the best modern horror films out there. Ari Aster just smashed it out of the park for his debut. He's out there. I heard someone bring up this movie the other day, which surprised me because I've heard nobody ever talk about this movie. It's okay. It's alright. Sorry. I didn't know what to say. The Hills Have Eyes. I love this movie. Wes Craven just did such a good job. Yeah, I love The Hills Have Eyes. The Hills Have Eyes Part 2, which, again, a lot of people will try and tell you it's a bad movie, and by all means it's not great. It's pretty much Wes Craven's version of doing a generic camp slasher, but I love camp slashers, so Hills Have Eyes Part 2, pretty enjoyable. Overall, the Hills Have Eyes franchise is actually pretty solid, because the remake, which we're getting into now, is one of the best horror remakes out there, in my opinion. I just think it's great. It adds to an already gritty and realistic and dark film, and just turns it up to another level. The Hills Have Eyes Part 2 is probably the weakest of the four, in my opinion at least, but has its moments, kind of fun. His Name Was Jason, a 30 years retrospect look at the Friday the 13th franchise. I know there's a new documentary out on the franchise called Crystal Lake Memories, which is apparently better than this, so I'll have to check it out, but for what it is, it's alright. The Hole. If you haven't seen this movie, check it out. I grew up watching this movie. I'd rent it all the time from my DVD rental store. Super fun. It's like a family kids horror movie, but isn't afraid to go dark, and yeah, enjoyable. Sorry, I'm like pressed up in this corner here, so I'm like tucked against the wall and the camera's a bit shaky because I'm pressed in, but skipped one. Hollow Man. I really like Hollow Man. The new Invisible Man movie sort of feels like more of a Hollow Man remake to me. You know, the whole domestic violence angle and everything, but yeah, this movie is really entertaining. Horns. One I haven't seen in a long time because it's a long movie and it's got like fantasy elements which can sort of have me wavering in and out, but good movie, yeah. The Horror Network, one of my least favourite horror movies in my collection. I'm just going to leave it at that. The Host, yeah, a lot of people know this movie, so I won't dwell on it for too long. Yeah, really good Korean horror movie. Yeah. Hostel, a lot of people's entry into disturbing cinema. Yeah, I think this movie's not bad. It's actually not as brutal as I think a lot of people sort of make it out to be. For sure, it's fucked up in parts, but I think there is genuinely a pretty decent movie in there. Hostel 2 I don't like as much. That one scene where I don't know what the thing's called. I think it's called a scythe, and it's being dragged over her back, and you can sort of hear her skin being clipped by the edge. That made my skin crawl, but otherwise I thought this movie was just okay. Hostel 3 is not nearly as good as either the first or second, but it's alright. So I'm gonna have to turn this way. I'm getting like way too tucked in. House, done a review of this actually pretty recent as well, maybe like a month ago. Yeah, this movie's fun. I like House, it's fun. House 2, however, is not fun. Man, what a fucking step down in quality, and I've heard House 3 and 4 are even worse than this, so shit. But yeah, if you haven't seen House, check it out. Really good. Alright. Let's see how we go here. House at the End of the Street. I thought this one was okay. Had its moments. I don't remember it too well, but I thought it was alright. A classic by our boy Lucio Fulci. House by the Cemetery. For Italian films, I know a lot of people really like this one. I think Fulci has better, but for what it is, pretty alright. Rob Zombie's House of a Thousand Corpses. Out of his Devil's Rejects trilogy, or Three from Hell trilogy, whatever you want to call it, this is my favourite. I know a lot of people would say Devil's Rejects, but I just think House of a Thousand Corpses is just so fucking awesome. Super gritty. I just like the chaos of it. There's almost like... There is a story, but it's almost just so free for all, and yeah. Vincent Price in House of Wax. A lot of people think that this is the original, but it's actually a remake of Mystery of the Wax Museum from 1933, which I actually haven't watched, which is part of this. So I own the movie, I just haven't watched it, but House of Wax with Vincent Price. Yeah, I love Vincent Price, so him in anything's great, but I really like House of Wax. House of Wax remake. A lot of people want to hate on this one because it's got Paris Hilton in it. She barely plays a role, and when she's in it, she's actually not too bad. So, but all that aside, I genuinely really like this remake. Again, I feel like what I said with the Hills Have Eyes remake. It's just adds a realness and grittiness and much needed step up to a cool story. I believe it was actually meant to be a remake of Tourist Trap, which actually suits it a bit better, but either way, good movie. The House That Jack Built. A lot of people, again, bring this up when they talk about disturbing movies. Yeah, has its fucked up moments. It's Lars von Trier, so it's a little bit too artsy and weird for me, but when it's firing, it's really fucking good, for sure. I liked it more when it was just sort of a case study on this OCD serial killer, but when it starts to get into like the stuff later on, it's sort of where it loses me. Last two, sorry, I'm sort of rambling. The Houses That October Built. A lot of people really liked this one. I thought it was just okay. And Howl, a really slept on werewolf movie. If you haven't checked out Howl, really good. I'd say the only thing that I hear most people sort of not like about this movie is the design of the werewolf. I mean, it's something different. It doesn't look very typical to what we normally see, but other way, yeah, really cool movie. Just a werewolf film that takes place on a train. There we go, guys. Shelf number 6 is done. Sorry towards the end there. Like, as I said, I was like backed into this corner. I didn't realize how smushed I was getting, and the camera started like wobbling, but either way, hopefully you guys are still enjoying this series. Shelves 1 to 6 are done, so we're just moving down more and more. Feel free to leave comments on any of the movies that you see in these videos, or even if you don't see a movie, I said this in a previous video, there's a chance that I have seen it, I just don't own it, so feel free to talk about any movie in the comments below, and I'll see you for another video soon, guys. Peace.